What's up, everybody? Gordon here again, coming to you talking about the future of Texas Tech basketball. Many of you by now have seen my video on Chris Beard, my final thoughts on Chris Beard's departure, and somebody actually commented in that video that I should do on my thoughts on Mark Adams. I had actually kind of started on it already in terms of just sort of roughing out in my head the things that I wanted to talk about, and I didn't think I could make a whole bit about him fighting a bear with his bare hands. I mean, I guess I could, but I feel like that's kind of been done before, right? So I wanted to talk about Mark Adams first. Guy's West Texas, right? He's born in Brownfield. First head coaching job was at Wayland, where he was actually quite successful in the 80s. 100 wins, 39 losses. That's pretty fantastic. At the junior college ranks, he was even more successful, 233 wins and 54 losses. As a matter of fact, if you look at his head coaching career, this man has won almost everywhere he went. He's been incredibly successful as a head coach. The only place that really stands out as a blemish on his record would be Texas Pan American, where he was a coach in the early to really late 90s, 92 to 97. 44 and 90. Not ideal, but I want to clarify something about that. Because if you just look at his career there, it's like, what happened? But if you actually go look into it, nobody was successful. I mean, before him, after him, it's been a whole thing for Texas Pan American. So, good on them. It looks like they've had some success more recently, but at that period, none to be found. I think the things that we're going to see under Adams, I think we're going to see a more purposeful offense. That's already been kind of discussed. I think we're going to see a faster pace than we saw under Beard, and that's going to be because of Barret Peery. We're going to get to that in just a minute. We'll kind of get to that. I think we're going to see a strong defense still. We know that Adams was the architect of the no-middle defense that made Texas Tech a powerhouse, as it were. I think we're going to see continued efforts in the transfer portal and in recruiting in general. He's already demonstrated that he's getting to work. He wants to bring the best players to Texas Tech. Texas Tech has really sort of opened the door to, from a support from, faculty and administration standpoint. They've said, hey, look, we're dedicated to having a basketball team, So the facilities are there, top-notch facilities. A lot of support from the administration. That's very important. That's vital to success in basketball. And certainly Adams has that support, and I think that's going to help. I think we're going to continue to see some solid hires from Adams here. From all reports, he didn't sign a monster contract with Texas Tech. He signed one that is, we'll say, team-friendly, which allows for more money to be spent on these really solid assistant coaches, and that's important because we want to see success out of Adams, but success comes with other pieces, and he knows this. And I think one of the one of the most important things we're going to see out of him is loyalty. We don't have to worry about him, having any modicum of success and then saying, all right, West Texas, it's been great, it's been fun. I know I called Texas Tech my mama and said I was home, but I got to go over here somewhere else. We don't have to worry about that. That's not something you're going to have to worry about with Mark Adams, and I think that's important. And I think his first hire, Barret Peery, is huge, and I'll say why. Former Portland State head coach, 63 wins, 57 losses. Not spectacular, but if you look at his JUCO record, his head coach as a junior college coach, 181 wins and 29 losses. Massively successful. Also, having connections to the junior college level, especially in today's game, and with the transfer portal, wow, say that 5 times fast. And all of these things, these two guys have these connections, and those can pay massive dividends down the road for us. As a program, there's a lot of guys that maybe they are a little diamond in the rough coming out of high school, and so they go to JUCO and they play really well, or maybe they have some grade issues. Maybe they don't quite make the grade coming out of high school. There's questions about them. They go to JUCO, they figure things out, they do well, and then suddenly now they're playing for Texas Tech. these guys, they really, they're going to have some connections in that. I think it's a big deal. It's not to be misunderstood, though. Both these guys have coached at bigger schools. Adams has coached at Texas Tech. Peery has been an assistant coach at Utah and Arizona State. So it's not like he has never been around Division I basketball. What I'm excited about with Barret Peery is he is known for full court pressure and up-tempo offense. And the way that he merges those two together, that's what his teams are known for. And we don't know how much of that is going to translate to Texas Tech, but what we do know is that we're going to see a faster offense. It's almost impossible not to see a faster offense. If we can see a more productive offense, if we can see an offense that potentially raises its points per game and is able to maintain the level of intensity defensively that we saw in the Beard era, watch out, Big 12, because that Texas Tech is terrifying. Period. That's just a terrifying team. A team that can score more than Texas Tech did and play defense as well as Texas Tech has. That's terrifying. Texas Tech was holding teams to season lows in their scoring, and they weren't really scoring much themselves. But if they can turn that side around, if they can start scoring themselves, if they can average more points per game while retaining this ability to keep opponents in season lows for points, that's huge. That's unbelievably huge. The other reason I think Barret Peery is a huge hire is dude's got a chip on his shoulder. And when I was looking through some of the stuff for him, I found a interview that he did in 2019. It was a post-game interview. It was really more of a short, not huge post-game presser that he did. He took his Portland State team, the Portland State Vikings, to the University of Indiana, the Hoosiers. And they played. They lost. And in that, he sort of iterates that part of the reason he thinks they lost was because obviously Indiana was bigger. And but he believed in his team. And at one point, one of the interviewers says, how did you guys stay in the game? How do you think your team was able to come back? You guys are down 16 in the first half at one point, 18 in the second half at one point. You fought back. You got, within close, you basically made it a better game than we thought you would have. It's not what was said, but that's what was implied. And he, Peery said, the way we play, we're always going to be in we're always going to be in it. We're always going to be in the game. We have this opportunity. If we can get a couple stops, if we can do a couple things right, we can really make a run. And nobody in the world would have expected Portland State to have beaten Indiana. And this coach thought, man, if we could have just got a couple stops, those guys were just a little bigger. If we could have just managed to eke out a couple stops, we could have won this game. And he believes that. And that is the kind of thing that Texas Tech embodies. Texas Tech is the perpetual underdog because we are Texas Tech. And that underdog mentality is important. That's an important part of the ethos of Texas Tech. And I think that if you can bring a guy in who can make your team better in terms of giving them a more productive offense, an offense that is going to produce more, which means more productive. I think that you can literally take a team, keep that, that underdog mentality. I know we're kind of moving away from street dog, but that street dog mentality, that chip on your shoulder, that kind of mentality, and just say, cool, yeah, we're not just going to beat you, we're going to embarrass you. Sign me up, man. Get your tickets, get your popcorn, let's go. So, here's what I think about Mark Adams. He fought a bear with his bare hands and he won. He doesn't like middle seats in airplanes. I don't either. And he doesn't want to wear orange. Dude took a huge chance staying here just to try and be the head coach. It wasn't a foregone conclusion. I mean, let's take a second to understand and appreciate the fact that this man had a job waiting for him in Austin, Texas, at the University of Texas, as, for all intents and purposes, probably the assistant head coach or whatever title he was actually going to be given. But he had a job, 100% for sure. And Mark Adams said, I'm not leaving. I'm staying here. And that takes a degree of just self-certainty and belief that doesn't really exist in this world for a lot of people, especially at the coaching level. Because it's been said a number of times, there are only two types of coaches in this world, those who have been fired and those who are about to be fired. And while at the collegiate basketball level, we see a lot of coaches who have very long-standing head coach tenures, let's be honest, there are those who do not stick around very long. So, Red Raiders, be ready. I think Mark Adams is going to bring some exciting things to the South Plains. So there you go. There's my thoughts, guys. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think. What do you think about Mark Adams? Are you excited? Are you nonplussed? Could you care less? If you're not a Tech fan, especially if you're a Texas fan, I know some of you Texas fans are going to watch this, and I want to know what you guys think. Are you even concerned? Do you think that it's even going to be a game? Let me know. I want to hear it. In the meantime, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. All that's cool. Comment. I really like the comments. I like being able to interact with people that, post questions or things like that. Also, tell your friends. Feel free to share this to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I think you can share some links to Instagram. Anything. Feel free to share it, pass it around, and we'll see you next time, guys. Be sure to stay tuned to the channel. We do have Sunday Shorts coming up. I have Sunday Shorts coming up, and we'll see you next time.